Please welcome to the stage, Platinum Leader, Ali Mona.
Thank you so much. Oh my goodness, I am so excited to be here, and I have the honor to wrap up this incredible TERRATalk session. And my goal is to fill you with unshakable confidence in your ability to grow both yourself and your business in this next season. How does that sound? All right, let's get started. So I might not look like it, but I'm actually fluent in Mandarin Chinese. Ooh. And it was a skill that was hard won during the 16 years that I lived and worked in China. China's actually where I started building my doTERRA business, and I fell in love with the belly-to-belly business model, dropping countless oils into countless palms all around the nation. But then the pandemic hit. And in just 3 weeks, my family packed up everything we owned into 26 suitcases, and we left behind a nation that had not only given us one of our girls through adoption, but also it was the only home our daughters had ever known. We landed in a teeny tiny town in central Mexico where there were 5 English-speaking families. And so overnight, I lost everything I had built: my network, my ability to communicate with strangers, my influence, and I had 0 social media presence. And so I watched my children struggle as I was struggling. My oldest, who was in 6th grade at the time, started to have these debilitating daily panic attacks because she was learning curriculum in a language that she didn't yet speak. And so I realized that I was in a new season. And it was a season that I couldn't travel to grow my business like I used to. I needed to be home. And so all of a sudden, all of those beautiful pipes skill sets that I had spent years mastering were useless to me in central Mexico. And so I had to evolve. I came to a decision point that changed everything for both my confidence and my leadership. Either I could find a way to bring the world to me through social media, or, realistically speaking, I had to give up a business that I loved. Have you ever been at a similar decision point where you're weighing your options, you're going, is it worth me to level up, or do I just throw in the towel? If you've been there, you are not alone. But here's the thing, I couldn't give up. Yes, it was the products and my team and the company, but more than that, it was what this business had done for me personally. I have this obsession and this deep love for the business model because it compels us to grow. When we let it, this business gives us the rare opportunity to become someone we never thought possible. And so drop by drop, sachet by sachet, conversation by conversation, and skill by skill, we become someone we never thought possible. And so here's what I realized in that really hard season, and it's applicable to you whether you're building in living rooms or whether you're building on social media. You are the product. It's not the oils, it's not the supplements, it's not even the business opportunity. You are what people buy into, and you are what makes the biggest impact on people's lives. And so once you grasp this, business growth becomes more fluid and natural. It's almost automatic. And let me illustrate this for you. This is my husband, the love of my life and my #1 fan, and this is his cousin. I joke not, on his mom's side, a bazillion times removed. Okay, they are related. Okay, so The Rock. The Rock is worth upwards of $800 million. He reps energy drinks and sports brands. He even co-owns a football league. But why is it that brands and people are dying to work with him? It's his personal brand. It's the level of influence and trust he has with his audience. But he didn't start out this way. If you ever saw his early movies and you could compare him to what he does today, it's a night and day difference. So what changed? Well, over decades, decades, that's important, he worked to become a person of value. And now his presence alone moves markets. That's the power of a personal brand, and it is no different for you or for me. People want to buy from and partner with people that they know, value, and trust. They want to be in the room with people they sense can help them succeed. So how do you become that person? Okay, it's through a relentless commitment to personal and professional growth, to becoming someone whose presence, words, and actions make an impact. So you must become the person who can help other people win. And so if you don't grow yourself, you won't grow your business. But if you do, your business will follow. The right people will naturally gravitate to you. You'll carry yourself differently. Your energy will shift, and people will feel it. But here's the truth. Confidence isn't something that you just magically wake up with one day, is it? We often think, once I'm successful, I'll feel confident. But it's often the other way around. It's competence, getting really good at something, that builds confidence. Because the more confidence you have, the more you'll try. And the more you try, the more competent you'll become. So this is called the competence loop, and it is always working for you. So if you want to grow your business, you need to grow yourself first. And that happens when you intentionally focus on 6 key actions that I remember with one word. And this is what I want to teach you today. Impact. These are the 6 daily moves that keep me in the competence loop and keep my business moving forward. So first, the I stands for identify your personal vision for your life and your business. So if you take a second, and you can close your eyes with me if you want, you don't have to, okay? But you just imagine the life that you're creating, even just by being in this room, starting today. What's the life? Who are you with? What are you doing? How does it feel? And what opportunities have you created? And if you hold that vision and you allow me to be honest for a second, the more opportunity you create, it usually requires more money, doesn't it? So let me ask you, how much? Maybe it's having your doTERRA products covered every month. Foundational wellness, free. Maybe it's enough money for groceries or college tuition or a car payment. Maybe it's paying down your mortgage. Or maybe it's complete financial flexibility. The power to give and invest and create opportunities anytime you want. The truth is, with consistent effort, can't doTERRA be the vehicle to fund any of these? Really? Can it? 100%. Yeah? So what's your vision? What's the life and the lifestyle you want? How much additional income might it take to make it real? And then we have to map it to the comp plan. What's the rank or the bonus on average that can support that vision? This is not about chasing someone else's dreams. And it's not about looking on the room and playing the comparison game. This is about getting crystal clear on what you want so you can put your blinders on and get to work. That's how you identify your personal vision. And once you do that, you can ask yourself another question. All right, who do you need to become to make that vision a reality? And this is where the M comes in, mapping your growth gaps. So ask yourself, to get to that vision that you want for your life, what skills are you missing? What habits do you need to focus on? And what mindset shifts might you need to make? So I want to get practical with an example. And let's say that you identify that your vision requires an additional $3,000 to $4,000 a month. Fair? Okay, so that's almost-ish the rank of gold, which means supporting 3 premier leaders. But a lot of times we hear in the early stages of our business, I can't find builders. Has anyone thought or said that out loud? Yeah, 100%, right? Can't find builders. Does that put you in a position of power? Or does that make you a victim? Victim. Okay. How do we fix it? Okay. Maybe the growth gap that puts you back in your power could be one of these. Maybe you don't fully understand the compensation plan yet. And so you're not talking about it with confidence. Or maybe you lack some skills like invitation or communication. So it's not coming through. Maybe you lack a bit of belief in the compensation plan. Maybe you've been at this for so long and it just hasn't happened yet. So every day that goes by, you lose more and more belief and hope. Or this is a big one. Maybe you've been focusing on attracting customers, which is awesome, but you're not talking about the business. So no one's joining, and so you're doing it alone. Do you see the difference here? Once you identify the real gap, it gets you back in your power because you can do something about these things. Can't force people to build with you, but you sure can work on your growth gaps. Okay? It takes honesty and feedback and identifying patterns so that you can name the skill set or the belief or the behavior that you need to focus on to get to the next level. But once it's mapped, guys, then you know exactly where to focus your energy. And that is what leads us to the P of impact. Y'all like a good acronym? Like a good acronym. All right, P stands for practicing your missing skills. Skills don't grow with intent. They grow with reps. Remember those gaps we just talked about? They might not be your gaps, but if you're growing leaders, I guarantee you, someone's going to say that to you once, and you can use this to coach them through. Here's how you might work through some of these growth gaps. You might practice some of these skills. If you lack understanding in the comp plan, would you just teach it out loud to yourself or the mirror or a spouse or a mentor, somebody safe, until it starts to feel better? Maybe you lack some skills. Role play with your mentor. Again, find somebody safe. Practice inviting until it feels natural. What about belief? Did you all know that you can borrow belief? Isn't that what we're doing here at convention? Borrowing belief? It's the same thing. Okay, attend events like this. Borrow belief until yours is unshakably strong. And if you've been attracting those customers, that's all right. Just start shifting your language a little bit. Talk as much about the business as you're talking about the products. The point is, you cannot wish your way to your next level. It's practice and repetition. That's how you become the person that vision for your life requires you to be. The A stands for appreciating the growth process. And I want to tell you a story. These are my girls, and they are competitive cheerleaders in central Mexico where we live. 3 are bases, and then 1's a flyer. So that little one in the upper left, her name is Grace. And Grace lives this life with half of a functioning heart. And I will forever be grateful for the tools that we have here so I can support her wellness so that she can continue to fly. Okay? All this beautiful makeup, y'all, coming down my face. Okay. So if you know nothing about competitive cheer, know that it's an extremely dangerous sport. Okay? So my girls, when they're practicing a new routine or a new stunt, they will fall hundreds of times. They will endure hundreds of bruises and bumps and tears leading up to competition. So they competed in Colombia this past June in an international cheer competition, and they practiced for 275 hours over 6 months to master a 2-minute and 45-second routine. Okay? They were nearly perfect. They took home grand champion, and silver international trophies. It's incredible. Yeah, they worked for that. Okay? But here's the thing. Here's the lesson that I cannot help but take from watching my kids, because I watch all 275 hours, let's be frank, okay? They go through grueling practice for months and months to get so good that they cannot get it wrong when it matters most. But as adults, we forget what growth looks like. And so we avoid the falls, we avoid the vulnerability, and those long repetitions it takes to master new skills, don't we? And so we don't try hard enough, we don't try long enough, or, my least favorite, we just don't try at all. But if you want to be willing to grow, you've got to be willing to fall and to get it wrong maybe hundreds of times so that eventually you can get it right. And just like my sweet girls, we can learn, as adults, we can relearn how to appreciate this process of growth. Because no matter what your individual growth gap is, because we all have them when we're trying to level up, it's the same principle. We just won't nail it the first time. Could you give yourself some grace? But with enough practice and enough falls, you will eventually get so good that you can't get it wrong when it counts either. This is called falling forward. And in order to willingly fall forward over and over and over again, you got to get to the C. And that's celebrating yourself. Being the one that pats yourself on the back and tells yourself you're doing a good job. Success here at doTERRA isn't just about enrolling customers or rank advancing. It can't be, because that's a moment in time. What about the hundreds of times you spend every month preparing, educating, supporting, reaching out, connecting with your people? Don't those count? Yeah, they do. What about the effort it takes you to clean your home? Or the 2 women that came, it's so exciting. The text reminder you finally remember to send. It's my downfall. The courage it takes to connect to a stranger, to invite your neighbor. Those are all wins. They just are. And so go back to the example. What about these? You practice the comp plan one more time. You make one more invitation. You weave in a business conversation. Guess what? Aren't those wins? Can't you be proud of yourself? Shouldn't you be proud of yourself? 100%. If you're building on social media like I am, you got 3 likes last week, but 6 likes this week. Guess what? That's measurable growth. That's actually momentum. And you can celebrate that. The reality is, we all need thousands of teeny tiny micro wins to get to that big vision, don't we? And so you might as well master the art of practicing some love and celebrating every inch forward. Raise your hand if you just realized that you're winning in your business more than you think you are. All right, every hand should go up. You're here. Win. Okay. Finally, the T. The T stands for track your growth and your progress. Here's another truth. The real win in this game is the journey. It's not the destination. Because once you commit to personal and professional growth, there's no finish line. So stop trying to arrive as fast as you can, and instead start noticing how much you're actually winning every day. Celebrating you and your growth is your responsibility alone. No one else's, not your upline, not your spouse. It's your responsibility. Why? Because no one will ever truly know how far you've come, what you've had to overcome, or who you've had to become along the way. And there's no one that teaches this better than my kids. They'll come out of a grueling practice, blood, sweat, tears, all of it. One time, one of my girls said, "Mommy, did you see that I could hold my flyer 2 seconds longer today than I could yesterday?" My girls have learned to measure their success in seconds. not days, not months, not years. They've learned to measure it in inches and not miles. And we can too. We can relearn that as adults. Yes, give yourself a round, please. Okay, so can you track that explanation? Can you pat yourself on the back when you make that next invite that feels good? Can you celebrate that? What about that business conversation where you don't feel like you're going to vomit? Right? Can you celebrate that? Because when you track these micro wins, you'll realize you're not just moving forward. It's actually you are building unstoppable momentum. I want to leave you with some wisdom from one of my favorite mentors. Are there any Alex Hormozi fans in the house? Yeah, all right. We're actually best friends. He doesn't know me yet, but he will. Here's what Alex says. Okay, he will. I said yet. Okay, you're going to have to try. This is what you take a picture of, by the way. You're going to have to learn how to try significantly harder and longer than you expected. But the payoff will be bigger and different than you imagined. Because you realize that the money never mattered, and who you become to get it was the point all along. Okay? It's your commitment to fostering this leadership mindset that will grow your confidence, keep you grounded in your vision, and keep you in this game long enough to win. Thank you so much.